I have traded in so many different parts of the world. I've traded in Dubai, I've traded in the Maldives, I've traded in Australia, I've traded in Canada, I've traded in the US, all over Europe, like you name it. But nothing beats a good old London session at 7 a.m. So you might be wondering, if you have all of this time and you have all this freedom, why don't you just live in another country? Why don't you live in a country where you can benefit from lower taxes? So in this episode, I'm gonna do a deep dive as to why I've never left the UK and how you could be sleeping on something, and why I believe that if you're someone who lives in the UK or if you live in Europe, it might just be the best place for you to be. What I found is, for me, the UK gives me structure. When I've traded abroad, all different types of time zones, but I'm up early, I can do my morning routine, then 7 a.m. where most of the movement is happening, I'm ready, I'm dialed in, I'm in the right state of mind, I'm ready to see if there's opportunities available on the instruments that I want to trade. When I've been abroad, it's not been the same. If I'm in Dubai or if I'm in hot countries, there's beaches, there's lots of distractions. I find it just put me personally in a different state of mind. I was focused on things that I want to do versus in that kind of hustle business mode, getting on with it. And for the UK, I feel like the environment of that is so much more. There's not that option to be able to do it. I don't have a beach, a stone throw away. And although that sounds great, I like to use that as a vacation, as a reward, versus like every day I want to do that. It gives you that urgency that you need to go business mode. Let's get on with it. Let's trade. Let's make some money. So this is why I believe that if you're someone in the UK, this is a game changer. If you really think about it, most of the trades that you'll take is between London session and New York session. So throughout your working day, and you're probably someone who's working a 9-to-5 job, you're working alongside this to make this work, you can place trades before you go to work. You can place trades whilst you're at work. So in the working hours, you have structure, you have order. You're not thinking about placing positions at 8, 9 p.m. at night. There's a routine, there's a rhythm to it, there's a flow to it. Now, certain other countries, they don't have the benefit of that. If you're on the East Coast, you don't have the benefit of the same time zones where you're going to get that volatility. Now, they have to adjust. They have to wake up at all different types of time zones just to make it work. So I believe a lot of people are sleeping on that. And I found that when I'm abroad, it's not just about the beaches, it's also the time zone itself. It's like in that working hours, I can get so much done. I'm either going to take a trade in London session or I'm going to take a trade in the New York session within that. It's very rare that I'll take it outside of that. Where I would trade in the evening if I'm going to set a position overnight, which is much rarer, but that would be like an Aussie dollar overnight, a Kiwi dollar overnight, a pound Aussie overnight. But more often than not, most of my trades are like 10, 11 a.m. So it's like, it's right in the money where I can work, I'm getting on with things, I'm being able to go to the gym. Like, I just have that routine where I can get all my things done and then still have time in the evening for family and activities and things like that. Let's take a look at it. London session. We've got Euro CAD, not your typical Euro dollar or pound dollar. You can trade on multiple different instruments, but I picked this one on purpose. Now, this is going to be a bit of a lesson, but I want to show you what I mean about the London session, the volatility. We'll probably go over a couple of days, maybe even a late New York session trade as well. But there's a lot of value here, especially for those of you that are learning how to trade for the very first time. Look at the simplicity. What someone sees to the untrained lens is just sideways price action, a little bit messy. But let's focus on this high right here. See how that high takes out all of this? This is the new high that we're dealing with. And what we want to establish is price going to move towards there like a magnet? Now, we start to look at our lower time frame price action just to support that idea. And the more and more we start seeing highs, but then big gaps between them, you want to look for another gap towards that high. So let me explain. Let's say we've got now this high right here, but we're quite far away from that high. I think we'd all agree. Now, if I just put this in like that, what we want to establish is price not getting to that high, moving away from that, and then giving us lower time frame price action to move into that. So almost see it as price is going to draw that price in like a magnet. Now, if we're going to be drawing price in like a magnet to fill that gap between here and here, it's likely the momentum would be in to then draw price to here. So now all I need is a time session in which that volatility would be there to take advantage of that. That's where I scale into some lower time frames. I'm then looking at the 15-minute. I'm then looking at the 5-minute time frame for some more precision when relevant. But you see the gaps, price is going to move towards that. Now what we get is price breaks the low, and you can see the time, right? We're in 7 a.m., 8 a.m., and we start moving into London session and late London session. So now we're in at this time here. So we make our high at 840, then we come back in. This is a very typical structure that we would trade. Now look at the lesson. What did I explain to you guys about the gap? So we're looking for price to drag in to fill that gap. What do you see here? There's your high. What have we got? We've got the gap. Price comes out. What does it do? Takes out the low, and then you get your rejection, and then we're going to draw price in, and it's going to pull it like a magnet. So you have your first area where you can essentially remove your risk off the table. So what this would simply be is, again, you're in London session, late London session. This is the beauty of it. You don't need to be trading at 6 a.m. every day to make money. 10 pip stop. Your target is at the highs. So as you can see there, so you got 3.5 to 1. Go back to the 15 minutes so you can see it. So look at the story of the price and look at the time. You're in the London session. You didn't have to be in at 6 a.m. You waited for price to do its thing. Then it gave you the same profile that it needs every single time to create the confluence to be able to get the high quality setup. It's in the right time to benefit from it. You enter on the lower time frame, but you built the whole theory from the higher time frame. You didn't just randomly get in. And then you got your 3.5 to 1. Now on the flip side, we make our target. What do? We tap the volume area. This is where naturally profit taking is going to take place. So you either see the kind of sideways price action or a full-on reversal, which is actually what we get. So what do? We scale up again. We look at the higher time frames and see, well, hold on a minute. We've now followed through. We're in New York session, now late New York session, and we're starting to create sideways price action below the area that we were buying. So we bought into this area. We're now trading through price there. We scale down to the 5-minute time frame again. What do we have? Another entry, retesting the back end of the same area that we blasted through. So there was ways to enter here, ways to enter here. Again, you've got the other. So that was like the bonus trade. But again, let's say you weren't trading in that session. You still had your London session trade. Now let's go to the next day. So we go over to Tuesday, right? So we had our Monday trade and now we're on our Tuesday position. So notice how this is actually a sell continuation model in the sense of you've got your move here, you've got your gap, and then you've got your rejection. We don't get enough of a higher time frame rejection to get that trade. But what I would be looking at here is a sell continuation. Now, if I go to the 1 hour time frame, you can see I never got an entry. Again, this is a tiny little bonus lesson, but that would be enough to put me off that trade anyway. So again, an experienced trader, that's an avoidable loss. But what I would be looking for is a much stronger rejection to mitigate against all of that indecision. Then that would be the trade that I'm looking for. But you know what's really good? Structural flips in the market, and most people don't know how to take them. So what do we notice? The sell continuation doesn't take place. Trap sellers into the market early. We break through. We create our next position, which again, where is it? London session. So it's a little bit earlier. So this is the 7 a.m. trade. And then you've got your move right here, your long position, your stop below. So you'll be looking at a 10 pip stop. And then your target area number 1 is 2.4, back to the same area. And then your bigger target is all the way up to the value area, which is about 4.6 to 4.7. Simple. So if you look at it like that, these are the 2 London session positions. You also have the New York position. You got more than enough. And even if you went on the riskier side and said, hey, you got your win, your win on this one, let's say you took all of them, and then you got your loss. I think this is so avoidable, but I'm just going to go on the conservative side. Let's say you did take it. There's your loss, but this to me is a really avoidable loss. And then you got your win. So you got your win, your loss, your win. That's a really simple sequence. This is not even a longer term, higher time frame trending trade. This has just got higher time frame analysis to it. But the key part is prime London session, late London session, you can benefit from these trades. So imagine you're now in UK and you're in a Europe time zone. You're able to do this. You're able to do this whilst you're working, before you go to work, whilst you're at work. And if you're someone who has a bit more flexibility in the hours that you work as well, it's a massive, massive gem to be able to do that. That is why I like it, because let's say I took that last trade at like 5-ish p.m. and I was out before swaps. The majority of the time with a trade like that, that's kind of a free trade. And what I mean by that is that I could place that position. Once it gets to around 1%, I can remove risk and almost just let it do its thing. It's almost like a free running trade at that point. But that is the benefit of having a system that's tradable in every single session, but making the primary focus London and New York. People often ask me, but Mark, isn't the UK expensive? Honestly, if you're trading well, then no. But the reality is, you could say it's expensive everywhere. You could say, well, look, if I live in Denmark, it's going to be higher. If I'm going to live in Iceland, yeah, I'm probably going to be paying more. If I'm going to live in Switzerland, it's going to be even more than that. So it really doesn't matter. Like if you're in UK, or if you're in Europe as a whole, you're going to find that inflation is getting higher and higher. The cost of things are getting more. So you can't really save your way to the top. So the goal is not thinking about how can I save money, how can I save money? It's the wrong way of thinking because you can only save so much. So then you're capped. But when you're trading well, and you have a minimum of a 6-figure account, which is very, very achievable. I mean, it's why I created an in-house fund to give people that solution. But once you have a 6-figure trading account, you can make it work. If you're making 5%, 4%, 6% per month, suddenly you're now in that category where you're making 5, 6K per month. You're making more than what you'd be doing in your job. The cost of living is very manageable when you have good habits. I'm not blowing money on fancy restaurants all the time. I'm not buying bottles of champagne or getting 4 or 5 different cars. Like that was a pastime. There was once upon a time where I did have a few cars, but the reality is it didn't even fulfill me in the first place. And I believe deep down for the majority of you, what you really want, number one, is to just not stress about money. What you really want is to not think about checking the bill. What you really want is being able to book a holiday without really thinking about cutting costs or booking it on a different day. You just want the ability to be able to spend without thinking about every single penny. All of those other things, yeah, they're the cherry on the cake. But the real things that don't put you in that stressful state is about having the ability to just live a very good level, a comfortable level of life. And they've done studies on this, by the way. There is no difference in someone who's earning £70,000 a year to £90,000 a year. What you want to do is you want to get above that stress zone where you're month to month. And if you have a reasonable sized trading account, like I mentioned on the fund, you're in pole position to do that. And if you do like the hot countries and you are a little bit on the different side and that motivates you, all the power to you. You have a laptop, you can trade from anywhere in the world. You just need to have a robust routine. But for me, I find UK, that time zone, get things done. I have the urgency. Do you know what's crazy? Now we're moving into our 9th year of this project and we have traders in over 150 countries. Imagine all the different cultures and the type of people, the work ethic, the personalities. And I've met them. I've met thousands of them in person. That's really important to me, those in-person relationships. It's the reason why I've gone to the other side of the world. I've gone to Australia twice to meet these individuals. That's my commitment and I really enjoy that. And the power of network. You've got eyes and ears. When I speak about time zone, every now and again, that's not in the London session or the New York session, there might be a great setup shaping up in the Asian session. It could be a semi-swing style trade. We have eyes and ears in the market in all different time zones. How much is that worth to you? How much is it worth to you to be connected to all these different people and to learn from them and see that, wow, there are people with hunger and work ethic in all parts of the world. I've met people in Canada that have an incredible work ethic. The US, like you name it, all over the world. And I don't know whether we've attracted it. I don't know whether it's because of our value system and our kind of mentality in the Falcon project, but we just seem to attract people that are very switched on. Like they're very ambitious. Like they just get it that they've got to work hard, put the hours in, and they will receive the fruits of their labor at a later stage. They don't really come in with this get rich quick mindset, which is a breath of fresh air. And it makes it so much easier for us to teach, to mentor, because they just understand great things take time and short-term fixes. Where does that get you anyway? You jump from strategy to strategy, 5 years down the line, you're back to square one thinking if I just knuckle down on that sustainable system, I'd probably be trading north of a couple 100,000 right now and I wouldn't be stressing about money. I wouldn't be worried about that the taxes are higher. I wouldn't be worried about that my energy prices are up or the food bill is higher. Like people feel it. Let's be honest. If you're in the UK, you're in Europe, you go into the supermarket and you spend £100 and you realize, well, what's that got me? Like 12 items, where before that would have got you 50 items. Like people at a day-to-day level, they recognize that things are getting more expensive. So if you're in the mind of, right, I need to earn a little bit more money in my job and then put some money aside and save it, you're capped, you're finished. Because guess what? Things will get more expensive and you're more leveraged. And now the only thing you can do is your job and you don't have a high income skill like trading that's not location dependent, that if you were bothered about it, you could take your family and move somewhere else. That is the true freedom of it. So for me, yes, I can look at all the different places and the different taxes in the world and have the option to do it, but it's almost like a little bit driving a fast car. Like if you've got a Ferrari and you're in a 30 miles an hour zone, you don't need to put the foot to the pedal. You probably lose your license, but you don't need to drive the fast car fast all the time. Just knowing that you got the power under the pedal is enough. And I think for me in the UK, just knowing at a click of a finger, if I do want to go live in the Maldives for 6 months, I can. That's enough to just be here. But honestly, I love the environment, love the people, I love it. I grew up here, and it's really important to me to keep pushing that mission moving forward. So if you are from the UK or you're in the Europe time zone, you are so much more blessed than you think of the time zone that you trade. For other people in our community that are in different time zones that find it more difficult, but guess what? They still make it work because they've got a hustler's mindset, and that is what I love.